Hi everyone! Today I'm going to explain CELPIP Speaking Task 1. If this is your first time studying CELPIP, don't worry. I'll make everything really easy to understand. In Task 1, you'll see a short situation on the screen. It's usually just one or two sentences. For example, it might say, a friend is looking for a summer job. Advise him about different ways he can find work for the summer. So, the test gives you a short situation like that, and your job is to give advice, to share some good ideas or suggestions. It's like you're helping a friend solve a problem or make a decision. You'll have 30 seconds to prepare and then 90 seconds to speak. That's 1.5 minutes. It's really important to use all of your time. If you finish too early, like after only 50 or 60 seconds, you might lose marks because your answer is too short. So keep talking until the end, even if you just add a short closing sentence. Let's look at one more example. Imagine your friend just moved to a new city and feels a bit lonely. They ask your advice on how to meet new people. Here's one way you could answer. Hi, I totally understand how you feel. It's not easy to make new friends in a new place. First, I'd recommend joining a local club, like a cooking class or a sports team. That's a great way to meet people who like the same things. You can also try volunteering once a week. It's a nice way to meet friendly people and do something good for the community. At work, talk to coworkers during lunch or invite someone for coffee. Little by little, it becomes easier to connect with others. So don't worry too much. If you keep trying, you'll soon have good friends in your new city. See? That's what Task 1 looks like. You read a short situation, and then you give simple, helpful advice. Let's move on to the next one. In Task 2, you need to talk about a real experience from your life. The question gives you a topic and some ideas to help you think. For example, it might say, talk about a great time you had with a family member or friend. Maybe you can talk about a party, something you did together at school, a time you traveled with a friend, or anything else you can remember. What happened and why was it memorable? So, the question gives you a situation and some examples. You just need to pick one real memory and talk about it clearly. You'll have 30 seconds to prepare and 60 seconds to speak. Make sure to use all of your time. If you finish too early, you might lose marks. The best way to answer is to tell a short story. Start by saying when and where it happened, then explain what happened, and finally, share how you felt or why it was special to you. You don't need to use hard words, just speak clearly and with confidence, like you're telling a real story to your friend. Now let's look at another example. Describe a time when you learned something new. Maybe it was learning to cook, ride a bike, or play an instrument. Explain what you learned, how you learned it, and how you felt about the experience. Here's one way you could answer. A few years ago, I decided to learn how to ride a bike. When I was a kid, I never had a chance to learn, so I always felt a bit embarrassed when my friends went biking together. One summer, my friend said she would teach me, so we went to a quiet park near my house every evening after work. At first, I couldn't keep my balance and kept falling. My knees were sore and I almost wanted to give up. But my friend kept encouraging me and said, "Don't worry, you'll get it soon." After a few days of practice, something just clicked. Suddenly, I was riding on my own without her holding the seat. I felt so proud, and the wind on my face felt amazing. It wasn't just about learning to ride a bike, it gave me confidence that I can do anything if I keep trying. Since then, I've enjoyed biking on weekends, and every time I ride, I remember that moment. See? That's a full and natural answer with a clear beginning, middle, and ending. It's real, detailed, and easy to follow, just like a story you'd tell a friend. In task 3, you'll see a picture on the screen, and your job is to describe everything you can see in detail. You'll have 30 seconds to prepare and 60 seconds to speak. Make sure to use all your time. If you stop too early, you might lose marks. Now, let's look at an example picture. In the CELPIP test, you'll see a photo like this. When you get this kind of picture, look carefully and describe different parts of it. You can talk about what's happening in the center, on the left or right, and also in the front and back. Try to mention the people, their actions, colors, and objects you see. For example, you could start with, "In the center, I can see," or "On the left side, there's." You don't need to make up a story, just describe clearly what you see. Now, using the same picture we just saw, let's try to make a real example answer together. In the center of the picture, there's a man walking across the street. He's holding a cup of coffee and looks relaxed. He's wearing a light blue shirt, dark pants, and black shoes. On the left side, there's a bakery with a red and white striped shade above the window. In front of the bakery, 2 women are standing and talking. One woman is wearing sunglasses and carrying a yellow bag, and the other is wearing a red shirt and a dark skirt. They both seem to be enjoying their conversation. In the background, there's a yellow bus on the road, and behind it, you can see some tall buildings and green trees. On the right side, a mother and her young son are sitting on a wooden bench. The boy is happily eating an ice cream cone, and the mother is smiling gently. It looks like a warm, sunny day, and everything feels peaceful and friendly. Just a normal, happy moment in the city. See? That's how task 3 works. Just describe what you notice clearly and naturally, and try to keep talking for the full 60 seconds. Hi, everyone. Today, let's talk about CELPIP Speaking Task 4, Making Predictions. This task is actually connected to Task 3. You'll see the same picture again, but this time, you need to guess what might happen next. In Task 3, you just described what you could see in the picture. But in Task 4, you have to imagine what people will do in the next few moments. It's about using your imagination and talking about the future.
You'll have 30 seconds to prepare and 60 seconds to speak. Try to use future expressions like, I think they will. Maybe he's going to. It looks like she's about to. Now, let's look at the same picture we saw in Task 3. Here's one way you could answer. In this picture, a man is walking across the street with a cup of coffee. I think he will soon finish crossing and go to his office nearby. The two women in front of the bakery look like good friends, and I think they'll keep talking for a few more minutes before going inside to buy something. The yellow bus in the background might start moving soon when the light changes, and the passengers will probably go to work or school. On the right side, the little boy is enjoying his ice cream, and since the weather looks warm, it might start melting soon. His mom will probably tell him to eat it quickly before it melts. Overall, it looks like a calm and pleasant day, and everyone seems to be having a nice, peaceful time in the city. See, Task 4 is very similar to Task 3, but instead of describing what you see, you talk about what might happen next. Try to sound natural and confident, as if you're telling a short, friendly story about the picture's future.
Task 5. In this task, you'll learn how to compare two options and persuade someone to agree with your choice. You'll see two pictures on the screen, just like this one. And under each picture, there are short descriptions with details like the size, rent, and location. Your job is to choose one option and explain why it's better. So it's not just about choosing, it's about convincing the other person. You'll have 60 seconds to prepare and 60 seconds to speak. That's a little more preparation time than the other tasks, so make sure to use it wisely to plan your ideas. When you speak, here's a simple way to organize your answer. First, say which option you prefer. Next, give 2 or 3 clear reasons to support your choice. And finally, finish with a short, persuasive sentence, something that makes your opinion sound confident and complete. Now, let's look at an example using this picture. I think we should choose the Downtown Business Center. First of all, it's a newer building, built in 2012, so it's more modern and comfortable for employees. Second, it's close to bus and train stations, which makes commuting much easier for everyone. Also, the office is larger than the industrial district, so there will be more space for meetings and future growth. Even though the rent is a bit higher, the location and modern design make it worth the cost. That's why I'd recommend the Downtown Business Center. See? That's how Task 5 works. You look at two options, choose one, and clearly explain why it's the better choice. Try to speak naturally and confidently, as if you're giving advice to your boss or a friend.
Now, let's move on to Task 6, dealing with a difficult situation. In this task, you'll see a short paragraph that describes a problem or disagreement. Then, you'll have to choose one person to talk to and explain your opinion politely. It's usually a real-life situation where you need to solve a problem in a calm and respectful way. You'll have 60 seconds to prepare and 60 seconds to speak. That's enough time to think about what you want to say and how to say it nicely. Here's an example question you might see. Your younger sister is coming to stay with you for a few months while she looks for a job. She has a small dog and wants to bring it with her. However, your apartment doesn't allow pets, and your landlord has reminded everyone about this rule. Your sister says she can't leave her dog behind. Choose one. Either talk to your sister and explain why she cannot bring her dog, or talk to your landlord and ask for an exception. Now, let's look at a sample answer. Hey, I know how much you love your dog, and I completely understand that you don't want to leave it behind. But my apartment has a strict no pets policy, and the landlord has already reminded everyone about it. If we break that rule, we could both get in trouble or even be asked to move out. Maybe, for now, you could ask a friend or another family member to take care of your dog, or I can help you find a good pet sitting place nearby so you'll know it's in safe hands. Once you find a job and get your own place, you can bring your dog back and live together again. I really want you to stay here, but we have to follow the rules. I hope you understand. I just want things to work out smoothly for both of us. See? That's what Task 6 is all about. You get a tricky situation, choose one person to talk to, and explain your opinion politely and clearly. Try to sound calm, kind, and realistic, just like you would in real life. Now, let's move on to Task 7, expressing opinions. In this task, you'll need to share your opinion about a common topic. The question will ask what you think or what you prefer. For example, do you agree or disagree? Or which do you prefer? You'll have 30 seconds to prepare and 90 seconds to speak. That means you'll have more time to explain your ideas and give clear examples. Here's a simple way to organize your answer. First, clearly say your opinion. Next, give 2 or 3 reasons to support it. Then, include 1 or 2 short examples to make your answer stronger. And finally, finish with a short closing sentence. Let's look at an example question. Some people think it's better to live in a big city, while others prefer a small town. Which do you prefer, and why? Now, here's a sample answer. I personally prefer living in a small town. First of all, it's much quieter and less stressful than the city. In a big city, there's always traffic, noise, and crowds. But in a small town, you can actually relax and enjoy nature. Another reason is that people in small towns are usually friendlier. You often know your neighbors, and there's a real sense of community. For example, when I lived in a small town before, my neighbors used to help each other, like lending tools, sharing food, or watching kids after school. It really felt like everyone cared. Of course, cities have more convenience and opportunities, but for me, peace and personal connections are more important. That's why I'd choose a small town over a big city anytime. See? That's what Task 7 is all about. You give your opinion, support it with reasons and examples, and speak naturally, just like you're explaining your thoughts to a friend. Now, let's move on to the final one, Task 8. In this task, you'll usually see a picture showing something unusual or interesting. It could be a strange activity or something you don't usually see. For example, look at this picture. You can see a group of people doing yoga on paddle boards in the middle of a calm lake. It looks peaceful, but also quite challenging, right? The question will look something like this. You see people doing yoga on paddle boards at the lake. Call your friend and describe what they're doing. Ask if your friend would like to try this activity with you. So, this is the kind of situation you'll get in Task 8. Your job is to describe what you see and talk about it naturally, usually as if you're calling a friend and telling them about it. You'll have 30 seconds to prepare and 60 seconds to speak. Here's how you can organize your answer. First, describe what's happening in the picture. Next, talk about what the people are doing or how it looks. Finally, give your opinion or ask your friend a question. Now that you know how to structure your answer, let's look at an example using the same picture we just saw. Hey, Jenny, you won't believe what I'm seeing right now. There are 5 people doing yoga on paddle boards at the lake. Each person is in a different yoga pose. Some are standing, some are sitting, and one person is doing a pose lying on the board. They all look calm and focused while trying to keep their balance on the water. The lake looks so peaceful, and there are trees and mountains in the background. The weather seems warm and sunny, perfect for this kind of outdoor activity. It looks relaxing, but also a little bit challenging because the boards move with the water. I think it's such a healthy and fun way to enjoy nature. Would you like to try this with me sometime? I think it would be a great experience for both of us. And that's how you answer Task 8. Describe what you see, keep it natural, and end with your own thought or question. You've now finished all 8 CELPIP speaking tasks. Amazing job! And keep practicing.